I am 92 years old. And if you clicked on this video, it's probably because something inside you knows you need to hear what I'm about to say, because I am where you are going to be. I see what you still cannot see. And before it's too late, before crossing that final door, I need to tell you something that no one else is going to have the courage to tell you. I'm at that point in life where lies no longer make sense, where hypocrisy has completely burned off like a morning fog. I've buried my wife, I've watched my friends die, I've seen the people who hated me fade into the ground. And I've also buried the man who used to look in the mirror, worrying about the opinions of others. That man doesn't exist anymore. What's left is me. An old skinny guy with grinding bones and a gravelly voice, but possessing a mental clarity that only arrives when you have absolutely nothing left to lose. And that clarity is terrifying, because from up here, from this final cliff edge, I see something that turns my stomach. I see you all down there, living as if time were infinite, walking through life like time millionaires, as if every single morning the bank deposited unlimited days into your account, spending hours like they were cheap candy, postponing, delaying, waiting for the perfect moment. And I need to scream something down at you, even if it costs me my final breath. You're bankrupt. We all are. And by the time you realize it, it's going to be way too late to ask for a refund. Let me tell you about Tommy. It was 1963. Tommy and I grew up together in the same neighborhood, playing baseball with a ball we made out of tightly wrapped rags. But Tommy was different. He was smarter, better looking, armed with that kind of heavy charisma that made people turn around the second he walked into a room. While I was grinding away, working hard, he seemed to just surf through life without ever messing up his hair. One summer night, it must have been July or August, we were out on the terrace of his new place, a penthouse he had just bought after closing a massive deal with a construction firm in Chicago. Tommy lit a cigar, leaned back in his wicker chair, and looked at me with that half smile he always wore. "Man," he said, "5 more years. Just 5 more years and I'm out. I keep up this pace for 5 years, I hit the number I have in my head, and I'm done. Then I take Sarah and we travel all over South America. Then I buy that beach house I always wanted. Then I start actually living." Tommy had a plan, a flawless strategy, every single detail calculated right down to the millimeter. On a Tuesday afternoon, 4 days after that conversation, Tommy walked out of his office. It was 6:30. He was walking toward his car. Suddenly he stopped, grabbed his chest, and hit the pavement before he even understood what was happening to him. Massive heart attack. 41 years old. He never saw South America. He never bought that house on the beach. I stood there at his funeral, looking around a church packed with crying people. And let me tell you something. The tragedy wasn't that Tommy died. Dying happens to all of us. The tragedy was that Tommy never actually lived. He spent every single day of his existence sitting in a waiting room, waiting for the right time, the perfect moment, that one moment that never, ever arrived. I went to his office 2 weeks later. His brother asked me to help clean out his desk. His planner was completely booked for the next 8 months. Meetings, flights, obligations, as if he were immortal, as if he had all the time in the world. And the cruelest part, the part that absolutely broke my soul, was that the company replaced him in 3 weeks. His clients forgot his name in under a year. The world just kept right on spinning without Tommy, exactly as if he had never existed at all. And now I look at you sitting there listening to me, and I see Tommy. I see the exact same lie repeating itself. I'll be happy when I get that promotion. I'll take that trip when the kids are older. I'll forgive my dad when he makes the first move. I'll start taking care of my health when this project wraps up. Let me give you a piece of data straight from the perspective of someone carrying 92 years in his body. That later doesn't exist. There is only now. There is only this moment, this very second you're living while you listen to my voice. And if you're trading your now for a later that comes with 0 guarantees, you're making the worst gamble in the history of humanity. Let's talk about your things, about your obsession with accumulating. I look at your generation and I see a collective sickness. You're buying objects you don't need, with money you sometimes don't even have, just to impress people you don't actually care about. I live in a tiny room now. I have a bed, a chair by the window, and a picture of my rose on the nightstand. That's it. But there was a time when I had a massive house. 3 cars parked in the garage, a basement stuffed with tools I used exactly twice, closets packed tight with expensive suits. And I'm telling you this with the absolute, brutal clarity of a man standing at the end of the road. All of it was garbage. Expensive garbage, sure, but garbage at the end of the day. I've been to a lot of funerals, way too many, and never, not even once, have I seen a U-Haul truck following right behind a hearse. When you die, your kids are going to hire a total stranger to clear out your house. They're going to throw 90% of your precious possessions straight into a dumpster. The other 10% they'll sell at a yard sale for a few bucks. That is the final destination of all your materialism. Future garbage. So why are you killing yourself to get it? Why are you working 60 hours a week, missing out on your daughter's entire childhood just to pay off a car that spends its whole day stuck in traffic? It's complete madness, but you won't realize it's madness until you're sitting exactly where I'm sitting, and by then you won't be able to return the merchandise. Let me tell you about my grand victory. It was 1976. They named me Businessman of the Year for my city. It was a massive event, black suit, silk tie. I walked up on that stage. The crowd gave me a standing ovation. I felt like a god, like I had finally won the game of life. I came back home that night carrying the trophy under my arm. The house was pitch black. Rose was asleep. The kids were asleep. I sat alone in the kitchen with a glass of cognac, staring at that piece of crystal, and suddenly I understood. The applause had lasted 30 seconds. The people at that dinner didn't care about me. I didn't matter to them. The only thing that mattered was what I could do for them. And the people upstairs in those bedrooms, the people who actually loved me, I had been neglecting them for months just to get my hands on that piece of glass. I missed my son's basketball game because I had to stay late at the office. I canceled my anniversary dinner with Rose to close a contract. And for what? The trophy is sitting in a box somewhere right now down in some basement. I don't even know where it is, but the memory of the sad look in Rose's eyes when I told her I couldn't make it to dinner, that memory is still right here. Fresh, vivid, exactly as if it happened yesterday. You think your career is your legacy? It's not. It's a transaction. You're selling the hours of your life, hours that will never ever come back, just to build a castle for somebody else. If you die today, your job opening will be posted on the internet before your obituary even hits the paper. Don't worship your career. It won't love you back. It won't hold your hand when the lights finally go out. So what actually matters? If money is just smoke, if the career is a trap, if the possessions are garbage, what's left? I'll tell you. The only things you get to take with you are the things you gave away, the love you offered, the time you shared, the deep connection. I sit in this chair every afternoon, and I don't remember my business deals. I don't relive my professional successes. I relive Sunday mornings with Rose, the smell of the coffee, her laugh, the sound my daughter made when she was 4 years old and begged me for a piggyback ride. The time I helped a neighbor change a flat tire in the dead of night while the rain poured down. That is the only real wealth. The rest is just air or worse. So here is my challenge to you. Here is the strategy, stripped of all the lies for the rest of your life. First, kill your ego. You're paralyzed by the fear of looking like a fool. You don't start that project. You don't call that person. You don't dare to chase down your dream. Why? Because you're worried about what they'll think. Let me set you free right now. Nobody is looking at you. They're way too busy worrying about themselves. You're only the main character inside your own head. To everyone else, you're just background noise. Stop letting the fear of someone else's judgment paralyze you. That judgment is going to rot under the dirt right alongside them. Second, practice the exercise of the last time. This is something I learned from the Stoics, and it will completely change your life if you actually do it. Every time you do something, anything at all, remind yourself that one day you will do it for the very last time. One day you will hug your child for the last time. One day you will kiss your partner for the last time. One day you will drink a cup of coffee for the last time. You don't know when that day will be. It could be 30 years from now, or it could be today. If you live with that level of awareness, you will never take a single thing for granted. You'll savor the coffee. You'll hold that hug for 3 extra seconds. You'll look people in the eyes, you'll pay deep attention, Because you'll know deep down in your bones that everything is temporary. Everything is borrowed. Everything comes to an end. Third, wake up right now. I'm 92, my back constantly aches, my vision is blurry. But you hold the golden ticket. You have health, you have energy, you have time, and you're wasting it staring at a screen, numbing your senses, distracting yourself from your own existence. Go outside. Feel the wind hitting your face. Look up at the sky. Call your mother. Forgive your brother, not for his sake, but because you don't have the time to carry around the heavy luggage of resentment. Visit your grandmother before it gets too late. Hug your kids until they physically ask you to stop. Say I love you first. Take the risk of looking vulnerable, because the clock is ticking and it never ever stops. Death comes for all of us. It's the only promise we actually have guaranteed. But most people never truly live, they just exist. They play it safe, stay comfortable, and then they expire just like a useless coupon. Don't be like Tommy. Don't wait for the 5-year plan. Eat the good food, buy the plane ticket, say exactly what you feel, ask for forgiveness. Forgive, start the damn project. Call that person, because the clock is going tick-tock. Do you hear it? That's the sound of your life burning away. My grandkids came to see me a little while ago. The youngest is 6. He asked me, "Grandpa, what does it feel like to be so old?" I told him, "It feels like I closed my eyes for one single second when I was your age. And when I opened them, my hair was already white." And that is exactly how it is. You think you have time, you think life is long, and suddenly, in the blink of an eye, you're right here where I am, looking backward. And when you look back, what do you want to see? A collection of paid bills, a list of things you bought, an impressive resume. Or do you want to see love? Do you want to see moments? Do you want to see that you are actually present in your own life? Because I'm going to tell you something nobody else will. Your parents are going to die. Your friends are going to die. You are going to die. And between right now and then, you have a strictly limited number of times you're going to see them. Let's say you see your dad 3 times a year. If he has 15 years left to live, you're only going to see him 45 more times. 45. Does that sound like a lot to you? It isn't. Every dinner, every phone call, every visit is one less tick on the counter. And when it hits 0, it's over. There are no replays. There are no second chances. So put the phone down when you're with them. Look them in the eyes. Truly listen, because those moments aren't infinite. They're scarce, they're incredibly precious, and they're running out right now as we speak. People ask me, what do I miss? They miss the wrong things. I don't miss my physical strength. I don't miss my hair. I don't miss the money I used to have. I miss the moments I failed to seize. I miss the times I said I was too tired to play with my kids. I miss the conversations I never had with my dad because I was simply too busy. I miss the sunsets I never watched because I was staring down at paperwork on my desk. That is what hurts at the very end. Not what you did, but what you didn't do. The words you never said, the risks you never took, the love you never expressed, because you felt embarrassed or scared, or because you honestly believed there would be plenty of time later. And now, from right here, from this absolute endpoint, I can tell you that later never arrives. There is only right now, this moment, this second, and if you don't live it, if you let it slip by waiting for a better time, a more convenient day, some future version of your life that is never actually going to materialize, then you will have lost absolutely everything. Because life isn't what happens when you finally retire. It isn't what happens when you finally have money. It isn't what happens when you finally get that degree or that promotion or that perfect body. Life is what is happening right now. While you're listening to me, while you're breathing, this is it. There is nothing else. And you either live it or you lose it. I'm tired. My time here is coming to an end. Soon I'll be gone, and when I go, I want to leave knowing that I told you the truth. The raw, harsh truth that nobody dares to tell you because they're too busy selling you comfortable lies. So I'm telling you one last time. You are alive right now. Not tomorrow, not next year. Right now. And every second that passes without you making the most of it is a second that will never return. Don't waste it, don't postpone it, don't trade it for anything. Live right now. Do it. Important notice. The content provided below, including the reflections and interpretations of the story, is created and shared strictly for educational and motivational purposes. It is intended to foster personal growth, mindfulness, and humanistic values. This material does not constitute professional, psychological, financial, or life coaching advice. Listeners are encouraged to use their own judgment and apply these universal truths to their unique life situations. The echo of a 92-year-old soul. Listen closely to the words of a 92-year-old soul standing at the very edge of the final cliff. It is a voice entirely stripped of lies, hypocrisy, and pretension, calling out to a generation that foolishly behaves like time millionaires. We spend our precious hours as if they were cheap candy, constantly postponing our joy, delaying forgiveness, and waiting for a perfect moment that simply does not exist. We live under the dangerous illusion that our days are infinite, banking heavily on a later that carries absolutely zero guarantees. But the truth is raw and unyielding. We are spiritually bankrupting ourselves by trading our vibrant present moments for a future that may never arrive. Consider the tragic reality of Tommy, a man who possessed brilliant charisma and a flawless 5-year plan to accumulate wealth before finally starting to live. He calculated every single detail of his life right down to the millimeter, dreaming of South America and a beautiful beach house, only to have his heart stop completely on a mundane Tuesday afternoon at the age of 41. The profound tragedy of Tommy was not that he died, because death is the one promise guaranteed to every single one of us. The true tragedy was that he never actually lived. He merely sat in the waiting room of existence, organizing an 8-month planner that ultimately outlived his own heartbeat. Within 3 short weeks, his company replaced him, and within a single year, his clients forgot his name, proving that the world keeps right on spinning without us, no matter how indispensable we believe our careers to be. We witness this exact same lie repeating itself in our daily routines whenever we claim we will finally be happy after a promotion, after a project wraps up, or when the kids grow older. This obsessive drive to accumulate material things has become a collective sickness, pushing us to work exhausting hours to buy expensive garbage we do not need just to impress people we do not even truly care about. At the end of the road, no moving truck follows a hearse, and our most prized possessions are destined for a dumpster or a cheap weekend sale. The only real wealth we ever get to take with us is the love we offered, the connections we nurtured, and the deep presence we shared. True legacy is a transaction of the soul, found in the quiet laughter on Sunday mornings, the warmth of a long embrace, and the willingness to show up fully for the people who actually matter. Therefore, we must actively choose to kill our egos, which constantly paralyze us with the fear of judgment, and realize that everyone else is far too busy worrying about themselves to notice our missteps. We need to practice the powerful perspective of the last time, reminding ourselves with every cup of coffee, every hug, and every conversation that it could be the final one. Wake up right now while you still hold the golden ticket of health and time, drop the heavy luggage of resentment, and dare to look vulnerable. Do not let your life burn away in the blink of an eye, only to look back from the final chair and realize you collected nothing but paid bills and an impressive resume instead of genuine, beautiful moments, perspective, and humanistic commentary. Looking at this profound narrative from my perspective, I see a beautiful yet piercing reminder of what it truly means to be human in a world obsessed with tomorrow. We often trap ourselves in an endless cycle of accumulation, mistakenly believing that our worth is measured by the trophies we collect or the titles we hold. However, the true essence of a meaningful life lies not in what we possess, but in the depth of the love we choose to give away. This story strips away the comforting illusions of modern society and forces us to look into the mirror of our own fragile mortality. Every single day we wake up is a quiet miracle, a blank canvas that we frequently deface with the heavy baggage of resentment, anxiety, and endless delays. I believe that human connection is the ultimate currency of existence, far outvaluing any bank account or corporate position. When we choose to put down our screens and look deeply into the eyes of our loved ones, we are actively reclaiming our humanity from a distracting world. It is easy to fall into the trap of becoming a passive observer in our own lives, waiting for a perfect moment that is entirely mythical. True courage is found in vulnerability, in being the first to say, "I love you," the first to forgive, and the first to embrace the beautiful uncertainty of today. We must remember that our careers will never hold our hands when the final hour approaches, nor will our material wealth comfort our grieving souls. By shifting our focus from mindless ambition to soulful presence, we can transform our daily routines into a sacred celebration of life. Let this narrative serve as an awakening, a gentle yet firm nudge to stop treating time as an infinite resource. Cultivating empathy, practicing kindness, and cherishing simple joys are the actual building blocks of a legacy that outlasts our physical forms. My hope is that these words inspire you to live deliberately, to breathe deeply, and to honor the strictly limited moments you have with those who matter most. Ultimately, a life well lived is simply a collection of moments where we chose to be fully present, loving unconditionally, and entirely awake to the magic of the right now.